for right now, we do have a guest joining the show. I mean, come on. Do we even need this man? Do we even introduce this man?
The
Do we even need to introduce this man? I mean, come on. MicroMike. I mean, the GOAT. Look at Mike joining the show. Of course, you can check him out. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. I'll have all the links in the description like we always do. Mike, how you feeling today, my man?
I'm feeling pretty good right now, man. I mean, you said Mike is not here, and then another Mike comes in, so I'm the replacement. So we are good to go, fellas.
Well, Mike, I need your immediate reaction to kind of just, and I know you've been covering it on your channel as well, but just kind of talk about what transpired today. The Lions officially released Cam Sutton. I want to ask you your reaction to that and kind of the plans following that. Do you expect the Lions to add another corner? We all advocate for Stephon Gilmore. Where are you at with the news and what the Lions will do next?
First off, it was shocking, wasn't it? Cam Sutton, of all the people you're thinking about doing such a devious thing to what is his girlfriend? It's crazy. He's on the run. Like, what in the hell are we watching here?
For weeks now.
Jeez, I know it's definitely crazy. We'll figure out with the money and financial situation that'll get taken care of. It absolutely sucks, but I guess when he was unproductive, it's a good way to release him anyways. A lot of people were unhappy with his production or lack thereof. And I am with you. I think Stephon Gilmore would be a good replacement. I think you got to get a rookie, but at the same time, you need a veteran because we need to win now. It's not developing time, right? We can't have the hiccups in week 1, week 4, week 5. We need to start winning now. And Stephon Gilmore, I think, would really help that. It'd be an easy transition if you got him and you picked up the rookie, and then the cornerback position can get a little bit better. But what a weird thing. And look, man, you got to turn yourself in, Sutton. You got to do it, man. I mean, it looks really bad that you're on the run. And, I don't know what he's thinking, what's going through his brain, but he needs to get his head squared away.
For sure. Mike, I think I see back there as well. I see Jared Goff throwing some passes to JMO back there.
Yeah, apparently they're throwing some passes to JMO back there. They're like stuck in one exact position. So I think I got him frozen right there. We'll see how it works.
Frozen. It's weird. No, I want to stay on the defensive end here, Mike, with the Cam Sutton stuff. And obviously, like, Brad's made a ton of moves on the defense. I think since the last time we talked to, I think like about a week or two ago, with Davenport and the 2 corners and as well as DJ Reader. Are you pretty confident with the defense now? Obviously, with Cam Sutton, there's going to have to be probably another corner added or some sort of depth there at that piece. But are you pretty confident with those moves he's made or like to where this team can kind of get into that top 15 defense in the NFL this year?
Yeah, man, I really am. And I don't put that much stock into free agency like a lot of people. Mine is more the NFL draft. I think it's more importantly, that's where you get your building blocks and your cornerstones for this football team. They got Marcus Davenport, one big high on him. I'd love to see the Lions to draft an edge probably early in the draft. I think that would be really good. And same with the corner, but they did pretty good in free agency, right? I mean, they got DJ Reader to help stop the run. They turn around, traded for Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson. They hit the needs that they needed. The guard with the Zeitler move was great. Absolutely love that move. And so now in the draft, besides the Cam Sutton situation, they can go in any different direction they want to. They can go wide receiver. They can go offensive line. They could go defensive line. I mean, they set themselves up really well. And I'm never a proponent of just getting every single high-end free agent on the team because eventually you got to let them go, or like a Trey Flowers situation where you're letting your own guys go. So you don't want that to happen. So I think he hit this free agency is about as well as I'd want him to do.
Yeah, Mike, and we just kind of had the conversation before you joined about Josh Reynolds. He's visiting Baltimore on Friday. What do you think happens there? And if he does decide to sign elsewhere, where do you think the Lions, what do you think their next move is with Donovan Peoples-Jones, so they just re-signed at a much cheaper price?
First off, man, I like Josh Reynolds, but we cannot overpay for him to be here at number 3, number 4, whatever he's going to be. So, look, I wish him the best, and I hope I do like him. I'd like for him to come back, but it's looking like it's not going to happen. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a great supplement, folks, and he was really starting to get cooking with Jared Goff by the end of the season. He's a big body guy, contested catch. I love the trade when we got it. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I'm like, we need to re-sign him. Yeah, he can cover the Josh Reynolds spot. He really can. And then you got Jameson Williams, who's going to be the number 2, and they could get another wide receiver in the draft. This offense is going to hum anyways, folks. We already know this offense is going to hum. It's going to be good. It's going to be good, and I think Peoples-Jones can do it. We'll see what they do at the wide receiver position if Reynolds signs. maybe they just go ahead and draft one. Antoine Green is still on the football team. They can utilize him. But look, Josh Reynolds, wishing the best. Hopefully you get the best money. And if we do have to face the Ravens, if he signs there in the Super Bowl or something like that, just continue to drop those fourth downs.
It's facts. That's facts.
Yeah, Mike, to kind of your point there. Sorry, I have a mic unplugged for some reason, so I'm trying to fix that. I'm with you on the Josh Reynolds stuff. It's like, yeah, he's great. He was consistent up until when he needed to be the most consistent and wasn't. I think TPJ some of that production. I want to ask you, Brad Holmes, we know this man simps for Alabama players. Two things he simps for in the draft: injured players and Alabama players. Maybe a little Iowa in there too. Want to sprinkle a little Iowa in there? That's fine too. But he was at the pro day. Industry ran the 40, ran a pretty good 40 with a bad foot. I'll ask you, at least position-wise, what would if you're in Brad's position, because we know he likes BPA, it's how he always addresses the draft. But when speaking about corner, we had this debate on the show a lot, drafting a corner, trading up for an edge, trading up for a corner. Where are you at? You think Kool-Aid McKinstry could be in the picture there? Or maybe another corner, another edge. Where are you at with it?
Oh, absolutely. He's in the mix there because he's around in that area where he'll be available around the 29 area. And if he's sitting there, of course, we love our Alabama players and we need a corner. I mean, losing Cam Sutton is significant. I know a lot of people don't think it is because his play was poor on the field, but Booner was saying earlier when I was listening, he brings leadership to that team and he knows the defense. So that is something that the Lions need to get better at the cornerback position, and they could do that in the draft. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I do like him. I like the Toledo Torpedo the most. I think this guy would be amazing on this defense, and I am willing to trade up a couple spots to acquire him. He is a physical guy. I love how he hits. I think he would be great on this defense. He's exactly what we want. That's my number one guy. If I'm sitting at 29, I mean, he could go at like 23, 20. Trade up and get him, man. Trade up and get him. Let's get this guy on this defense and make this thing powerful. Because if you could get some pass rush, imagine having him out there. Say they get a Stephon Gilmore or somebody else. Then you got the safeties and Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and Afutu Melifonwu. We're talking about turnovers, and we're talking about bringing the pain. And so I would love for the Lions to get him.
Dog, by the way.
Oh, he is. Quinyon, we saw him at the combine, and I think all of us on our show here when we were in Indy, we all like left and went back to the hotel and we're like, yep, Quinyon Mitchell is an absolute dog that he needs to be in Detroit. Want to throw this out there too, just sticking with this draft talk. Is there anyone that kind of is on your radar, Mike, that you maybe that people aren't talking about that you really love, especially I would say in the first 3 rounds? There's a lot of different positions that people want, like edge, offensive lineman, still receiver, corner. Is there anyone, and really to be honest, specifically like an edge or something that you're like, we need to bring him in Detroit as well in these first 3 rounds?
Well, obviously everybody knows Jared Verse, but I've been seeing in mocks that Leatu Lotu has been falling a little bit.
Yeah,
I would absolutely love that pick as well because we do need to get it better at the edge position. If he does fall, if the Toledo Torpedo ain't there, that would be an option for the Detroit Lions. I don't know if it's really an under-the-radar move, but that would be something that the Lions could immediately get. I think you can go guards in the 3rd round, maybe in the 5th round too, if they really want. There's a lot of good guards in this year's draft, so that's an option. Everyone knows about Cooper Beebe and Jackson from Oregon. There's some players that the Lions get, but you're right. I really want them to get a top-end edge somehow because I think if you can pair them up with Aiden Hutchinson, this defense can go to the next level. I really want them to go this route, and there's 2 good edges, the LL and JV and Jerver. So if they can get one of those guys, I'd be very pleased.
Mike, we all expect, you said it earlier, the Lions offense, it's going to hum either way. After a year of all these rookie players developing, second year, etc., where do you think at the end of 2024 this Lions offense will rank among the NFL?
That's a great question. I think it's going to get better because I feel like the offensive line got better with Zeitler. I think he's an upgrade over Jonah Jackson. Let's do it here. I'm going number 1 in the NFL. Lions offense.
Number 1?
Number 1 in the NFL.
I love that.
How are you going to be able to stop this when you have 4 first-round picks on the offensive line? Zeitler is one of the best pass blockers. Jared Goff is going to continue to just sit there and pick folks apart. This offense is really good, and the more that everybody gets into it, like Jahmyr Gibbs, right? He started a little bit slow last year, but now he's coming in. He knows the system. It's not going to be slow. So I think this team can go to number 1.
Mike, an
love to
interesting
hear
point,
that.
and I'm glad it's good transition because we're talking about a top 15 defense. You said a potential number one offense. When you look around in the NFC North, and I'm sure you saw the Greeny comments of him kind of the windows closed for the Detroit Lions. Where are you at with just the outlook of the NFC North and what the Bears have been doing? I mean, I said that I've been saying this too. I'm curious because I like Caleb a lot, but the Bears are buying a whole new team. Again, you need both. You need to be able to draft talent because that helps with sustaining success, and you have to be good in free agency. Like, I get that. What do you make of the Bears? Because the Packers are kind of a more obvious one. I get that, but just the Bears being a player for years to come. How do you feel about the NFC North for the next couple of years competing with the Lions?
Well, I definitely disagree with Mike Greenberg, and he doesn't really necessarily look at every team. He's not specialty in football. He's just kind of one of those commentators. So I don't really take anything that he says. So, dude's a Jets fan. So I don't really take a whole lot of stock in what he has to say. The Lions window is open for a long time, and the reason why it's open for a long time is because you have Brad Holmes who can draft players and replace players whom we lose. We may lose Josh Reynolds. I have no doubt that he'll be able to replace it. This is what good teams do. They're able to draft well. And if you consistently draft well, you're going to be good. Chicago Bears, you're right, man. They're spending a lot of money, and at some point, that's got to come home to roost. But for about 3 years, they're going to be good. 3-4 years. Caleb Williams is going to be a rookie. He's going to make mistakes this year. But I don't think they're going to compete to be the number one team. I think they're probably going to be a number 3. But after that, when Caleb starts to get his feet under him, and if he does well, look, they got a good defense over there in Chicago, really good defense. In their offense, they got some pieces. So I'm not saying they're going to be juggernauts, but they're definitely going to be much improved for the next couple of years. We'll see how Caleb Williams works. I really cannot draft a quarterback that cries, and maybe the men in the locker room may not like his leadership skill, because I don't know about you guys, but if you're crying after a game with your mom, it's really difficult to follow somebody like that. I was in the Army, and if that occurred after some sort of incident we had or a training exercise, I'd be like, man, I don't know if I'm going to follow this guy to battle. So that's just something from my perspective. But I think Chicago's got a better upside right now than Minnesota. I do. I think they're in a better position to be a better team for the long haul. And Green Bay, they're good, right? I don't think they're the number one team in the NFC North, unbeatable, but they're good. And Minnesota, of course, I don't know what's going on over there, so we'll figure them out. But yeah, I think Chicago, they'll be good for a couple of years, but at some point when Caleb's got to get that massive deal, all these people that they paid, all these players on defense, they're going to have to get cut. We've seen it 100 times over in the NFL.
Real quick too, I'm going to say this is kind of an in-season question, and I feel like I actually have heard it a lot the last couple of days around national media. I think it might have been Colin Cowherd who actually brought this up, and if anyone here knows if I'm wrong, but this whole Dan Campbell scenario going into next season, obviously the end of the year, there was hey, does he need to kick field goals? Does he need to do this, that? So this is like an in-season question, kind of. Where do you stand on this with Dan Campbell? It just popped in my head when you guys were talking about the window in the North and all of this. Do you think that's something Dan needs to change, or they need to go out and get a new kicker? And then with that, it's like, hey, do you think Dan even changes, or is it no, stay aggressive, be you, go out there and keep doing that into this year? Let's go win a Super Bowl like that. Where do you stand on that? I know it's a weird question, but that kind of the open window there kind of brought me into that.
When it comes to the kicker position, I fully expect them to draft one, and you always want competition at the kicker and just let the best man win. When it comes to fourth downs, I like his aggressiveness. I think sometimes he's got to slow it down, but we wouldn't have been in the NFC Championship game if he didn't go for it on fourth down multiple times throughout the NFL season. I don't think we would have 12 wins. I think his aggressiveness worked against the Chargers game. I think it worked against other teams that we faced this year. And I think you have to kind of do that sometimes. Now, should he have kicked the field goals in the championship game? Yeah, maybe he's got to learn his lesson just a little bit. Just slow it down just a tad bit. But in all honesty, I don't want him to become a Jim Caldwell. Right. I want him to be, I still want that aggressiveness. I like it. Yep. Look, it's all about game dictation, right? So if the Lions are dominating the line of scrimmage in a game, we're consistently dominated. Okay, 4th and 1, then go for it. But if we're getting dominated, like we can't get these small yards, maybe you should not go for it. I think it's kind of a situation like that, a feeler of that specific game.
Situational awareness. We've talked about that on this show a couple times.
Adaptability, baby.
Yeah, and somebody who does not have situational awareness is Cam Sutton, Mike. And I think with all this news coming around, people are going to kind of look at the cornerback room and almost not forget about the safety depth, but I feel like it's going to be kind of drowned out now. What do you think the Lions do? Because I still think they need a depth piece at the safety position. How do you think they address that following the Cam Sutton news?
Man, they could do it in free agency. Get a veteran back there. It won't cost a whole lot. They could do it in the draft. I don't know. It's so hard to tell with what Brad Holmes does. I don't know how you guys think, but like with Bob Quinn or Mayhew is so much easier to find out what they're going to do. But here it's like out of nowhere they make a move for safety. You could get just a cheap veteran. I'm not looking to get some big name. I'm not looking for anything like that. I feel like the 3 safeties that we got are really good, and I want to see them on the field. So I wouldn't spend a whole lot to get a veteran safety. If they want to get one in the draft, hey, go for it. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, good stuff, Mike. We appreciate you taking the time today. We want to get you back out, at least especially closer to the draft, because we got some things planned for the draft we want to involve you in. But Mike, you're the GOAT. All the times you joined us, taking time out of your day, man, we will not forget it. And by the way,
he's doing the Eminem.
We got to do some collabs, Mike. We got to cook, Mike, because we're
man. I'm gonna be in the Detroit area for the draft. I don't know where you guys are gonna be at, but maybe we can stop up there. I know Herm and I were doing something. I haven't figured out exactly where we're at, but if I can't do it day 1, I could definitely do it day 2 for sure. Come on down and hang out with the fellas if you guys are gonna be somewhere. So I don't know.
No.
You guys
we'll be down there for sure.
Yeah, we'll be down there.
Well, then, man, we got to get a couple drinks. We got to have some fun. Absolutely.
Let's go.
Epic.
Let's go, Mike.
There you go, MicroMike. You can check him out. Link will be in the description. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. Mike, we'll talk to you soon, my man.
Appreciate you, Mike.
This guy, dude. There's only one MicroMike. All right, there's only one.
Yeah, one of one.
Yeah, he's one of one.